Hey guys, on this video I'm going to show you how I change the strings for my Floyd Tremolo guitar, and it can be quite intimidating for beginners, especially to start restringing a guitar with a Floyd Tremolo, but once you understand how it works and how the tension works and the strings affect to each other, and the more you do it, the better you learn how to do it. And the victim of this video is this Ibanez JEM90th Hoshino anniversary model, and what I'm gonna do is I obviously take off the old strings, and then I will clean up the fretboard, and I will put in new strings and show you how to get it in tune. And if you disagree with something or have anything to say or comment, so just write there below. And some tools that you need when you change the strings. You want to have a hexagonal Allen wrench key to open the locking nuts and so on. And you want to have some good pliers. That you can cut the strings and do whatever you need to do with the pliers. And you possibly might want to have a screwdriver if you remove the neck or something. I will, because I cleaned the fretboard. And one of these is really helpful. This is a peg winder tool, and it's much easier and faster to wind the strings on the tuner. And you may have one of these multi-tools that Ibanez provides. It has all kinds of tools in it, but I never use it. And then you need a sponge. I will show you what I do with it. So let's get started. Okay, so what I'm gonna do first is to open the locking nuts like this. And by the way, I will show you everything in real time, except that I need to move the camera a bit once in a while. And for some boring parts, I will just speed up the video. But pretty much you will see how fast I do it. Okay, now we have these lockers removed, and I will use the sponge right now, and I will put it here under the Floyd Rose to the cavity, so that it protects the body, and when the strings are off, it keeps the tremolo quite in the correct position. And then you just start loosening the strings, and I will just loosen them so much that I can open them from the tremolo. As you can see, this is much faster than doing it with your fingers. I have this winder, I had it lost somewhere for some time. I didn't even know where it was, and I changed a few strings to my other guitars, and it was quite a nightmare to wind with fingers. Okay, now the strings are quite slack. So now you use the same Allen wrench key to open these lockers, so you get the strings out like this. Come on, like that. So now they're off. And at this point, I recommend to tighten this a bit, because there is a little small part in there that pushes the string against this against the this thing, so that if they fall off, it can be tricky to find them. I have lost a few ones, so that's why I always tighten them a bit, so that they won't fall off. Okay, and then we just take off the strings, and as you can see, I put the ball end in the tuner. I've always done it. Some people don't like it, but that's just how I do it. And by the way, if you wonder what this is the string retainer bar, and the function of it is that it kind of like puts the strings in an angle, so that there is a little angle before the strings hit the nut, so that when you tighten up the locking nuts, so the strings won't go badly out of tune. Some guitars have it, some don't. Okay, so now we have a guitar with no strings. And for cleaning the fretboard, I will remove the neck, because it's much easier to operate. And as you can see, here is a sponge, so it keeps the tremolo quite in a correct position. And by the way, some people do have all kind of fancy stands and whatever when they do things to the guitar, but I don't, and I like to have the guitar on my lap while doing whatever. And then I will just loosen these neck screws. And when you use a screwdriver, you gotta be careful so that the screwdriver won't slip and you will possibly damage the body. Okay. Now we're off with the guitar neck here. Okay, now I have moved to the kitchen table to clean the fretboard, and if you only need to oil the fretboard, so it may be wise to have the neck on the guitar without removing it. But I'm gonna use this steel 40 steel wool to clean, so you don't really want this steel wool debris to get attached to the pickups, because they're magnetic. What you need here is the steel wool, and I have this Dunlop 02 deep conditioner, and then you want to have one of these that you use to pick your ears or whatever, and then a rag. And I will start with the steel wool and go through the whole fretboard and the frets. like this. So you see this steel wool debris, you really don't want it to be in your guitar pickups. And then we just start putting in the oil. And some people do not use this on ebony fretboards, but it's not prohibited to use it on ebony fretboard, so I use it. It makes the color a little darker and put on the edges as well, like this. And now you use this ear picker. I mean, it's a bit difficult to get the whole fretboard oiled with this, so I just spread it out evenly with this. Okay, so now it's evenly all over. By the way, you don't want to soak the fretboard in the oil. Just put it as much as needed. Not too much, but not too little. And at this point, you may want to have a little break, have a coffee or something, and let it and let the oil do its thing before you wipe it off. So now we just wipe the excess oil off with a rag or cloth or whatever. Looks nice. So let's put back the neck. And by the way, I want these tuners to have a little stiffness on them, and the tuners do have a little screws here on top, and if one is too loose, you can always tighten them up a bit. Like I noticed this one was like that. Okay, now it's good. And you don't want to over tighten it because there are little nylon washers there in between, and if you tighten it too much, you can break one. And it's not good. And now I will just put the neck back on. Like this, and then you screw in the screws, and this is like tightening up a car wheel. So you first take the like this. Now it's back there. And by the way, Always use common sense and never too much force on anything, only the necessary force, so that you won't break up things. And for the strings, I'm using this D'Addario set of 9 to 42. Like this. I have always used these strings. Okay, so as I said, I always put the ball end in the tuner. And under the retainer bar, like this. And I will cut the string somewhere here at the fine tuner. Like that. And I open this up a little and put the string in there and then tighten it. You don't want to over tighten it, but you want it to be really tight. I mean, because later when you stretch the strings, so they won't pop off. And now I just put the winder here in the peg and start winding. And while winding, I always use my thumb to stretch a little, so it's stretching all the time when it winds up. Like that. So now we have new strings, and usually on this point, at this point, I will put back these lockers for the knot. Just do not tighten them. Like this. And usually at this point too, I will adjust the fine tuning screws so that they are quite in the middle. Like this. Okay, and now we start tuning the guitar. I will open up the Overload TH2. You can use whatever you want, as long as it has a tuner. And at this point, we don't want to get straight into the tune. We just want to get to the ballpark. And by the way, with a floating tremolo, when you tighten up some string, so the other strings will go flat and vice versa. So you just gotta check them out once in a while. And now I will remove the sponge, and it's in a good position. It's getting close. So now we are in tune quite well. Okay, so now we start stretching the strings, and stretching the strings is quite, it's really important, and you really gotta stretch them well, because if you don't do it, the guitar just won't stay in tune. And it doesn't matter if it's a guitar with a Floyd Rose or a hardtail guitar, you always need to stretch them. And the way I do it, I come a bit closer. Can you see anything? Yeah. So I grab somewhere around here and just stretch like this. And so it's quite violent, and you gotta be careful not to stretch too much, because the string can break. And it's a good practice to, or a good idea to practice stretching on the with the old strings, so you can get a little hold of it. And the idea of it is that when you stretch, the string goes down in tune. So you tune the string, stretch it out, and then tune it back. And when it doesn't go down in tune anymore, so then it's fine. And with the higher strings, it needs a little less stretching than with the thicker ones. So let's check it out. And by the way, I tune to sustain and not yet attack. See, it went down one whole step. And once in a while you want to check the other strings too. Okay, now we're back to going to the wood string, and you gotta be careful with them because the string inside is quite thin. So it takes a while with the low strings, and if you have a 7 string, 8 string, 9 string, so it takes a lot more time. Quite close. Okay, so now it's one important part. Just check it out that you have this bridge in parallel, and that means with this Ibanez bridges, here you can see there is that little line there. It needs to be parallel with the body because it's the knife edge. Okay, and now we just stretch the strings really hard with the tremolo bar, and I will put the volume back to 0, and this means that you just pull as high as you can and do dive bomb, pull up as high as you can and dive bomb again for about 15 to 20 times. And a guitar can make a lot of funny noises during that. Like this, and slack, high, slack. and then just release it. And then we check. So it is out of tune. Quite close. Okay, so now I will lock the tuners, or lock the nut. Just make them tight, but not, ouch. Make them tight, but not too tight. Like that. And when I tune the guitar, I tune the A string so that it is in tune, and then I will just tune the other strings in relation to others. And now we're supposed to be in tune. So that's it, now we're in tune. And sometimes you may wanna check it out later, maybe next day or something, and then stretch a little bit more if you haven't done it decently enough. But now it's in tune and stays like that. So thanks for watching, and if you have any comments, so let me know.